Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As we speak, the country is just coming out of the trance that the three-day extravaganza of the G20 summit in India had left them in. The grand Bharat Mandapam spread over 123 acres. The venue for the G20 summit under India's presidency saw almost 250 global heavyweights, including the world's biggest economies, left enamored by India's diplomatic and cultural prowess. Path-breaking, unprecedented, historic endorsements have been pouring in for Prime Minister Narendra Modi's decisive leadership for managing to swivel around deeply divided opinions of the Western Bloc and Russia-China grouping while hand-holding the global South, so much so that even some of the archivals sent to admit that it was arch-rivals, that it was undoubtedly a diplomatic triumph for India. Watch Shashi Tharoor as he breaks ranks with the rest of the opposition in praising the manner in which the Delhi Declaration and the G20 was a success.
So the Delhi Declaration is undoubtedly a diplomatic triumph for India. It's a good achievement because right until the G20 summit was being convened, the widespread expectation was there would be no agreement and that therefore a joint communique might not be possible. We might have to end up with a chairman's summary. On the presidency as a whole, one of the things that was remarkable, I would say, about the government's conduct of the presidency was that they did something that no previous G20 presidency has done. They actually made it a huge nationwide event. Yeah, I'm in touch with both Amitabh Kant, the G20 Sherpa, and with our foreign minister, and I would congratulate them because what they have done is certainly very, very good for India. It is not easy to pull off a diplomatic negotiation like this.
Now, Mr. Tharoor isn't just any odd politician. He has been a seasoned diplomat with distinguished stints at the United Nations. Clearly, he recognizes what goes into accomplishing such a mammoth task of getting world leaders on the same page for a consensus-based Delhi Declaration, consensus that has eluded in the recent past all of these different interests in different parts of the world. But instead of basking in the global glory, guess what Tharoor's political peers are focusing on? They're focusing on the bill, the water puddles, the missing dinner invites, and if that wasn't enough, a desperate reading between the lines to find some criticism in the compliments coming from across the world. Listen in first to veteran leader Lalu Prasad Yadav, who thinks the G20 marvel was nothing but money down the drain.
लोगों को बुला के इतना खर्चा कर रहे हैं, देश का प्रॉपर्टी बर्बाद हो गया, देश के आम जनता को क्या फायदा होगा?
And that's not all. Looking to muddy waters, the India bloc had earlier tried to use images of water that had accumulated in a small part of the Bharat Mandapam to allege large-scale mismanagement. And remember, these puddles were from early wee hours of the morning when it rained heavily and it was all spick and span by the time the leaders arrived. But while doing so, Congress leader Priyanka Gandhi almost revealed why opposition finds it so difficult to give credit where it's due. Listen in to Priyanka Gandhi.
आज सुबह तो मैंने देखा कि इनके G20 जब हो रहा था तो बारिश आई और सारा जितना भी वो जहां पे वो G20 की मीटिंग रख रहे हैं उसमें सारा पानी फैल गया है.
You heard it right. Inka G20. As if it wasn't about the entire country, just the BJP. But here is the catch. As they say, a lie has no legs. The claims of both the RJD and the Congress leaders were soon fact-checked and proven to be exaggerated and misleading. What was portrayed was as flooding turned out to be temporary waterlogging, and what was deemed as wastage of money is actually funds used for long-term infrastructure building. Undeterred, despite being called out domestically, opposition sought validation offshores. This time, they cited US President Joe Biden's speech to make their point, claiming that his statement on human rights and free speech was not generic but a message to the Indian Prime Minister. Listen in to what the man who hailed India as the new superpower of the subcontinent said, and decide for yourself.
And as I always do, I raise the importance of respecting human rights and the vital role the civil society and the free press have in building a strong and prosperous country with Mr. Modi. And we've gotten a lot of important work done.
As opposition seems to clearly be clutching at straws to find faults in what is widely being acknowledged as a flawless presidency by India, the question I ask on the Newshour tonight, really the legitimate question, is this India alliance trying to get together to belittle the feat with wastage of money? That's the question, and that's the debate.